I still remember the exact moment my marriage died. It wasn't when I caught him cheating or during some explosive fight. It was on a random Tuesday evening when my husband came home late, reeking of whiskey, and told me our dream home, the one we'd spent years planning, wasn't actually ours at all. My name is Vera, and this is how I learned that the two people I trusted most had been plotting behind my back for months. That morning had started like any other. I was in our temporary rental, sorting through paint swatches for the new house, while my morning coffee grew cold. The house was nearly complete, our perfect three-bedroom colonial, with the wraparound porch we'd first sketched on a diner napkin 3 years ago. "Earth to Vera!" Adrian had laughed that night at the diner, tapping my hand with his pen. "You're doing that dreamy thing again." "I can't help it," I'd replied, drawing little flowers along the porch railing in my sketch. "Just imagine drinking coffee out there every morning. Using your grandmother's inheritance for this place. It's perfect," he'd said, squeezing my hand. "She'd be so proud." Now, standing in our rental's kitchen, my phone buzzed with a text from Adrian's mother, Francesca. "Darling, I'm stopping by the house today to check on the contractors. Any requests?" I frowned. She'd been doing that a lot lately, showing up unannounced, making decisions about our home. When I mentioned it to Adrian, he'd dismiss it with, "Mom's just excited to help, babe. Don't be so sensitive." I called Adrian at work. "Your mother's going to the house again." "Oh?" His voice sounded strained. That's good. She knows about construction stuff." "Adrian, it's our house. We should be the ones." "Listen, I've got a meeting. We'll talk tonight, okay?" He hung up before I could respond. That evening I waited and waited. 9 o'clock came and went. Finally, at 10:30, I heard his key in the lock. He stumbled slightly entering the kitchen. "Where were you?" I asked, arms crossed. "Had drinks with Warren." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Listen, we need to talk." My stomach dropped. "About?" "The house." He gripped the counter, still not looking at me. "There's something I need to tell you." "Adrian, you're scaring me." He took a deep breath. "The deed, it's not in our names. It's in Mom's name." The world tilted sideways. "What?" "It's for protection," he rushed to explain. "Mom suggested it, for tax purposes and family security." "Family security?" My voice sounded far away. "It's our house, Adrian, built with my inheritance money. Mom will add your name later, once everything's settled." "When did you do this?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Last month, when we finalized the paperwork." "Last month?" The room was spinning. "You've been lying to me for a month?" "I wasn't lying. I just waited for the right time to tell you." "While drinking with Warren?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "Does your mother know you're telling me?" His silence was answer enough. "Get out," I whispered. "Vera, please." "Get out!" I screamed, hurling my coffee mug at the wall. It shattered, leaving a dark stain that looked like blood. He fled to the guest room, and I spent the night curled up in our bed, my mind racing. How could he? How dare he? My grandmother's inheritance, nearly everything she'd left me, gone, stolen, and his mother. The next morning I heard a key in the front door. Francesca swept in like she owned the place, which apparently she did. "Good morning, darling," she trilled, dropping a set of keys on the counter. "I assume Adrian told you our little arrangement? It's all for the best, you know. We need to protect family assets." I stared at her perfectly coiffed hair, her expensive blazer, her predatory smile. "Of course," she continued, "you're welcome to stay in the new house, as long as you're respectful of our family's wishes." In that moment, something inside me hardened. I forced myself to smile, even as bile rose in my throat. "Of course, Francesca," I said quietly. "I understand completely." She patted my cheek condescendingly. "I knew you would, dear. Now, about those horrible curtains you picked out." I let her prattle on, but I wasn't really listening. I was already planning. because what Adrian and his mother didn't know was that I'd sensed something was wrong weeks ago, and I'd already started gathering evidence. They thought they could steal my dream. Instead, they'd created their worst nightmare. The first person I called was my sister Stella, not to cry, not to break down, but to confirm what I already knew. "You were right about them," I said when she picked up. "About everything." "Oh, honey," she sighed. "What did they do?" I explained the situation, my voice surprisingly steady. When I finished, the line went quiet for so long, I thought we'd disconnected. "I'm going to kill him," Stella finally said. "Actually, no. First I'm going to kill that witch of a mother-in-law, then I'm going to kill him." "No," I replied. "I have a better idea." 2 weeks earlier, I'd noticed Adrian acting strange about the house paperwork. He'd hide documents when I walked into the room, take calls outside, have hushed conversations with his mother. So I'd made an appointment with Chelsea, a forensic accountant recommended by a friend. Now, sitting in Chelsea's office, I watched her flip through the preliminary findings. "This is interesting," she said, tapping her pen against a document. "Your husband's mother made several large transfers to an offshore account right around the time the house deed was filed." "How large?" "Large enough to raise eyebrows." She looked up. "And there's something else. The documentation claiming your inheritance money was a gift from Francesca. The dates don't match up with the actual transfers." I leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "According to this, Francesca gifted the money for the house construction in January, but your inheritance wasn't transferred until March. They backdated the documentation." My hands shook as I took the paper. "That's fraud, isn't it?" "Oh, honey," Chelsea smiled grimly. "That's just the beginning." At home, Adrian was playing the concerned husband act perfectly. He'd bring me tea, ask about my day, act like everything was normal, like he hadn't just stolen my future. "Maybe we should invite Mom over for dinner," he suggested one evening. "Talk about the house situation?" I forced a smile. "Sure, why not?" Francesca arrived the next night wearing an outfit that probably cost more than my car. She breezed past me into the kitchen, already talking about her plans for her house. "The contractor agreed to change those awful bathroom tiles," she announced, "and I've ordered new curtains." "Without asking us?" I said quietly. She turned, eyes sharp despite her smile. "Darling, I know you're upset about the arrangement, but really, you're being quite dramatic. It's still your home. You just need to understand that certain decisions need to be made by the actual owner." Adrian shifted uncomfortably. "Mom, maybe we should—" No, I interrupted, maintaining my calm. "Francesca's right. She owns the house. She should make the decisions." I paused. "Just like she owned that money that built it, right?" Something flickered across her face. "Exactly." "Interesting." I sipped my wine. "Because I have documentation showing that money came from my grandmother's inheritance, after the date you claimed to have gifted it." The room went very still. "I don't know what you're implying," Francesca said coldly. "I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. Facts that my forensic accountant found very interesting." Adrian's face went pale. "You hired an accountant?" "Weeks ago." I smiled. "I also hired a lawyer. Would you like to know what they found in those offshore accounts, Francesca?" She stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. "I don't have to listen to these accusations. Adrian, we're leaving." "Running already?" I called after them. "But we haven't even discussed the falsified gift documentation yet." The door slammed behind them. I waited until I heard their cars pull away, then pulled out my phone and dialed. "Chris, it's Vera. They took the bait. Time to file those papers." My lawyer's voice was satisfied. "Everything's ready, but are you sure you want to go this route? It's going to get ugly." I thought about Francesca's smug face, about Adrian's betrayal, about my grandmother's money being used to steal my dream home. "Good," I said. "I'm counting on it." Later that night, I found a document Adrian had left on his desk, probably in his hurry to flee with his mother. It was a statement clearly showing my inheritance being transferred into the house account. Next to it was a backdated document claiming the money came from Francesca. My hands didn't shake this time as I took photos of both papers. Instead, I felt a cold clarity washing over me. They thought they were so clever, so careful with their schemes and manipulations. They had no idea what was coming. The next few weeks were a masterclass in psychological warfare. Francesca showed up at our rental almost daily, always with that poisonous smile plastered on her face. "Darling, I've decided to host the neighborhood association meeting at the new house next month," she announced one morning, strutting into my kitchen uninvited. I didn't look up from my laptop. "Really? How nice. I thought we could showcase the renovations I'm planning." She emphasized the "I'm" while watching my reaction. "The current design is a bit pedestrian." "Pedestrian?" I kept my voice neutral, even as my fingers tightened on my coffee mug. "The design one from Architectural Digest seems to disagree." Her smile flickered. She hadn't known about that. "Well, dear, that was before. Now we need something more refined." She placed a designer catalog on my counter. "I've marked some suggestions." I heard Adrian's car pull up outside. Perfect timing. "Actually," I said, standing slowly, "I've made some changes of my own." Francesca's eyes narrowed. "What changes?" Adrian walked in, freezing when he saw us both. "I've invited some people to tour the house tomorrow," I continued cheerfully. "The forensic accountant, my lawyer, and, oh yes, someone from the IRS fraud division. They're very interested in those offshore accounts." The color drained from both their faces. "You're bluffing," Francesca snapped. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email confirmation. "Meeting's at 10. You should join us, Francesca. After all, it is your house." Later that evening, I was in the home office when I overheard Adrian on the phone in the next room. "Mom, she's not bluffing." "No, I don't know how much she knows." "Yes, I understand we need to move faster." I crept closer to the door. "The custody thing? Are you sure that's necessary? I know she's been unstable lately, but—" "Yes, I remember the plan." "Fine, I'll call Warren tomorrow about the documentation." My blood ran cold. They were planning to declare me unstable? To take custody of what? We didn't have children unless— My hand flew to my stomach. I'd been planning to tell Adrian about the pregnancy this weekend. Now that news would stay buried until I figured out their game. My phone buzzed. Chelsea, the accountant. "Vera, you need to see this. I found something in Warren's company records. There's a pattern of transfers between his accounts and your mother-in-law's offshore holdings. But here's the kicker. They're labeled as consulting fees for dates before the company even existed. Money laundering? Looks like it. And guess who signed off on all the transfers?" "Adrian," I whispered. "Bingo. Your husband's been helping Mommy Dearest hide money for years. Want to bet some of it came from your inheritance?" I ended the call just as Adrian walked in. "Who was that?" he asked too casually. "Just Stella." I forced a yawn. "I think I'll turn in early." "Vera?" He reached for my hand. "Can't we talk about this? Mom's just trying to protect our future." I pulled away. "Like you're protecting my mental health records?" He flinched. "What?" "I heard you on the phone. Planning to declare me unstable, Adrian? Take custody of something?" "It's not— You don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly." I walked to the door, then turned back. "By the way, Warren might want to check his financial records. The IRS tends to frown on backdated consulting fees." His face went from pale to gray. "How did you—" "Sleep well, darling," I said, using Francesca's sickly sweet tone. "Tomorrow's going to be interesting." In bed that night, I placed a hand over my still flat stomach. "Don't worry, little one," I whispered. "Mommy's going to fix this before you arrive. They thought they could take everything from us, but they have no idea who they're dealing with." My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "This is Eliana," Adrian's cousin. Stella gave me your number. I heard what they're doing to you. It's not the first time. We need to talk." I sat up, fully awake now. Eliana, the cousin Francesca had banished from family gatherings years ago, the one no one was allowed to mention. "When and where?" I texted back. The response came immediately. "Tomorrow, 8 a.m., Riverside Cafe. I have documents you need to see. And Vera? Be careful. They destroyed my mother. Don't let them destroy you too." I turned off my phone and lay back down, listening to Adrian's guilty tossing and turning in the guest room. Tomorrow would change everything. And I was ready. Eliana looked exactly like the photos Adrian had hidden away. Same dark curls, same sharp green eyes that ran in his family. She was already waiting at Riverside Cafe when I arrived, a thick manila envelope on the table. "You look better than I expected," she said as I sat down. When Mom faced off against Francesca, she was a wreck by this point. "I'm not your mom," I replied, "and I'm not going to let them win." She smiled grimly. "No, you're not. That's why I'm here." She pushed the envelope across the table. "This is everything they did to my mother. The playbook hasn't changed much." I opened the envelope and started reading. Property theft, gaslighting, manufactured mental health crises. It was all there, documented in faded papers and old legal notices. "Your mother was married to Adrian's uncle?" Eliana nodded, until Francesca decided she wasn't family material. Sound familiar? "How did she do it?" "Same way she's doing it to you. First, she convinced my uncle that Mom was unstable. Then came the protective financial measures. Before Mom knew it, everything was in Francesca's name." Eliana's hands shook slightly. "Mom had a breakdown, a real one, not the fake one Francesca orchestrated. She never recovered." "I'm sorry," I said softly. "Don't be sorry, be smart." She pulled out another document. "This is what you really need to see. It's the family trust documentation, the one Adrian was never supposed to touch." I scanned the papers, my eyes widening. He used trust money for the house construction. Against explicit terms. That money was meant for his father's retirement. Liam doesn't even know it's gone. My phone buzzed, a text from Adrian. "Where are you? We need to talk about yesterday." I ignored it. "There's more," Eliana continued. "Francesca's been moving money around for years. The offshore accounts? They're just the tip of the iceberg. She's been stealing from her own family for decades." "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone needs to stop her. And you—" She smiled. "You might actually be capable of doing it." My phone buzzed again, this time from my lawyer, Chris. "Vera, check your email. Now." I pulled up my email to find a forwarded letter from Francesca's lawyer. My blood ran cold as I read it. "They're claiming I'm mentally unstable," I said, showing Eliana. "They're building a case for conservatorship." "Of course they are." Eliana wasn't surprised. "Let me guess, they're also hinting at possible infidelity?" I nodded, reading further. "They're saying I've been erratic and paranoid. Classic Francesca. She did the same to Mom, claimed she was having affairs, was mentally unfit, even planted evidence." "Evidence?" "Fake hotel receipts, mysterious phone calls, staged photos. Be careful where you go, Vera. They're probably having you followed." As if on cue, I spotted Warren, Adrian's business partner, sitting 2 tables away, pretending to read a newspaper. "Don't react," I whispered to Eliana. "Warren's here." She didn't turn around. "Good. Let him watch. Let him report back. It'll make what comes next even sweeter." "What comes next?" She pulled out one final document. "This is a copy of every transaction between Warren's company and Francesca's accounts, including the ones they used your inheritance money for. My contact at the bank pulled these last night." I stared at the numbers. This is massive fraud." "Yes, and now you have proof." She stood up. "Use it wisely, Vera, and watch your back." After she left, I sat there pretending to finish my coffee, aware of Warren still watching. My phone buzzed one more time. Francesca. Darling, I just heard the most disturbing rumor about you meeting with that troubled niece of mine. I do hope you're not letting her fill your head with lies. For your own good, perhaps we should discuss having you take a little rest. Somewhere quiet. I looked directly at Warren and smiled, raising my coffee cup in his direction. He quickly looked away. Thank you for your concern, I texted back to Francesca, but I'm exactly where I need to be. By the way, how's the IRS audit coming along? No response. Walking to my car, I called Chelsea. I need you to look into something, I said. A family trust that was drained without authorization, and I need to know exactly how much of my inheritance money ended up in Warren's company accounts. Already on it, she replied. And Vera? The IRS agent called. They're very interested in those offshore transfers. I smiled, starting my car. Perfect. Let's show them what happens when you try to bury someone who was born to bloom. Time to put on the performance of my life. I packed a small bag, left a tearful voicemail for Adrian about needing space to think, and checked into a small motel on the outskirts of town. Let them think I was having my predicted breakdown. In reality, I was working from a makeshift command center, surrounded by documents and laptops. Chris, my lawyer, sat across from me reviewing paperwork while Chelsea worked the numbers. They're getting sloppy, Chelsea said, highlighting another transaction. Look at this. They didn't even try to hide these transfers anymore. Francesca moved almost $500,000 through Warren's company last month alone. Using the house as collateral, Chris added. They're planning something big. My phone lit up with another concerned text from Adrian. Baby, please come home. We're all worried about you. Mom says she knows a great therapist. They're pushing the mental health angle hard, I said, showing them the message. Time to push back? Chris nodded. The paperwork's ready. One word from you, and I file everything. I took a deep breath. Do it. While Chris made the calls, I got an unexpected visitor, Gemma, our nosy neighbor from across the street from the new house. Vera, thank goodness I found you. She burst into the motel room, clutching her designer purse. You'll never believe what I saw last night. Gemma, how did you... Your sister told me where to find you. Listen, I was walking Precious, you know, my Pomeranian, and I saw Francesca at the house at midnight. She was in the home office, copying documents and shredding others, lots of others. Chelsea and Chris exchanged looks. Did you see what kind of documents? Chris asked carefully. Better. Gemma reached into her purse. I took pictures through the window, and this morning I went through their trash, don't judge me, and found these. She dumped a handful of shredded papers on the table. Gemma, I said slowly, I could kiss you right now. Chelsea was already examining the shreds. These are bank statements, and, is that a trust document? They're panicking, Chris said, making mistakes. My phone buzzed again, this time from a restricted number. The voicemail was from Liam, Adrian's father. Vera? I just found out what they did with my retirement trust. Adrian and his mother, they've gone too far. I want to help. Call me. Things were unraveling faster than I'd expected. I dialed Chris's office. Janet, send that injunction now. Yes, all of it. And call the press. Within hours, the story broke. Local news first, then regional. Prominent family accused of multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. The photos of Francesca shredding documents made the front page. Adrian showed up at the motel that evening, pounding on my door. Vera, open up! What have you done? I opened the door but blocked the entrance. Me? I think you mean what have you done, Adrian? The press is camping outside our house. Mom's getting death threats. They're saying we stole from Dad's retirement. Didn't you? He deflated slightly. It's not that simple. Actually, it is. I handed him a copy of the legal filing. Fraud is fraud. Theft is theft. And karma? Well, karma's a bitch. please, he whispered. We can fix this. Together. I'll make Mom put the house in your name. That's not going to work this time. I placed a hand on my stomach. I'm not just protecting myself anymore. His eyes widened as he understood. You're pregnant? Yes, and there's no way in hell I'm letting that child anywhere near your toxic family. But, Mr. Horton? Two men in suits approached. We're with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. We need you to come with us. I watched them lead him away, then called Francesca. Your son just left with the FBI, I said when she answered. They're probably heading to your house next. Better shred faster. You vindictive little... Oh, and Francesca, remember when you said I needed to be respectful to stay in the house? Turns out respect has to be earned, and you've earned exactly what's coming to you. I hung up and turned to Chris and Chelsea. What's next? Now? Chris smiled. Now we go for the kill. Chelsea held up the reconstructed documents from Gemma's trash run. And we've got all the ammunition we need. I looked at the growing media circus outside the motel and felt a fierce satisfaction. They thought they could break me. Instead, they broke themselves. The courthouse steps were packed with reporters when we arrived for the emergency hearing. Francesca stood at the top, playing the role of dignified victim perfectly in her designer suit and pearls. This is all a terrible misunderstanding, Shaw, she was telling a reporter. My daughter-in-law is troubled, and we've only tried to help. Is that why you forged documents? I called out, climbing the steps. To help? The reporters swung their cameras toward me. Francesca's practiced smile faltered. Vera, darling, you're looking better. Her eyes narrowed at my professional attire and calm demeanor. This wasn't the breakdown she'd been counting on. Amazing what happens when you stop gaslighting someone, I replied, loudly enough for the microphones to catch. Inside, Adrian sat with his lawyer, looking shell-shocked. Warren was there too, handcuffed and accompanied by federal agents. He'd cracked during questioning, spilling everything about the money laundering scheme. Mrs. Horton, the judge addressed Francesca. These allegations are extremely serious. Financial fraud, document forgery, misappropriation of trust funds. Your Honor, Francesca's lawyer interrupted. My client was merely protecting family assets. By stealing them? Chris stood up. We have documented evidence of Mrs. Horton transferring my client's inheritance money through multiple shell companies, ultimately using it to fund illegal operations through Mr. Wade's business. That's a lie, Francesca snapped. Actually, a new voice called from the back of the courtroom, it's not. Everyone turned. Liam walked in, looking older than his years. Dad? Adrian whispered. Your Honor, Liam said, approaching the bench. I'd like to testify about what my wife and son did with my retirement trust. Francesca went pale. Liam, don't you dare. I'm done protecting you, he cut her off. You stole my retirement. You destroyed my relationship with my sister's family. And now this? He gestured at the documentation. It ends today. The next hour was devastating. Liam detailed years of financial manipulation. Adrian slumped lower with each revelation. Francesca's perfect mask cracked completely. And there's more, Chelsea announced, standing. We've traced Mrs. Horton's offshore accounts. The money trail shows systematic theft going back decades. These are private family matters, Francesca shrieked. Tax evasion isn't private, an IRS agent commented from his seat. The judge had seen enough. This court grants an immediate injunction freezing all assets pending criminal investigation. The property in question will be returned to Mrs. Vera. Wait, I stood up. Before you rule, there's something else. I walked to Adrian, placing a document in front of him. What's this? He asked. Divorce papers and a paternity acknowledgement. His head snapped up. The baby is yours, and I'm making sure you sign away any custody rights before these criminal charges make you lose them anyway. Vera, please. Sign, Adrian, or I'll add your secret account in the Caymans to the investigation." His hand shook as he picked up the pen. Francesca lunged forward. "Don't you dare sign that. We can still—" "Mrs. Horton," the judge barked, "sit down or I'll have you removed." Adrian signed. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. "One more thing," I said, turning to Francesca. "Check your email." She pulled out her phone, face contorting as she read. "You leaked our private correspondence to the press?" she hissed. "Just the emails where you mocked my stupidity while planning to steal my house and child." I smiled. "The public loves a good villain, Francesca. Congratulations, you're trending." The judge's gavel came down hard. "Enough! Property rights are hereby restored to Vera. Criminal investigations will proceed, and Mrs. Horton, you'll surrender your passport before leaving this courthouse." Outside, reporters swarmed again. This time, I was ready. "Yes, my mother-in-law stole my inheritance and house," I told them. "Yes, my husband helped her, and yes, I'm pressing full charges, because financial abuse is still abuse, and it's time someone stood up to wealthy people who think they can steal with impunity." Stella appeared at my side, linking her arm through mine. "Ready to go home, sis?" I looked back at Adrian and Francesca, surrounded by federal agents and reporters, their carefully constructed world crumbling. "Actually," I said, "I think I'll build a new home, one without their shadows in it." As we walked away, my phone buzzed with messages of support from other victims of Francesca's schemes over the years. Each one confirmed what I already knew. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just winning, it's making sure they lose everything they valued most: their reputation, their freedom, and their power to hurt anyone else. The final hearing fell on a crisp autumn morning, exactly 6 months after I'd discovered their betrayal. My baby bump was now visible under my court suit, a silent reminder of everything at stake. The courtroom was packed, not just with reporters, but with other victims who'd come forward after the story broke. Women Francesca had swindled, families she'd torn apart, all here to watch her fall. "All rise," the bailiff called. Francesca and Adrian were led in wearing orange jumpsuits, a far cry from their designer clothes. Warren had already taken a plea deal, turning state's evidence against them both. "Before we proceed," the judge began, "does anyone wish to make a statement?" I stood, one hand on my stomach. "I do, Your Honor." Walking to the podium, I faced them directly for the first time in months. Adrian couldn't meet my eyes. Francesca glared with undisguised hatred. "6 months ago, I thought I'd lost everything," I began. "My home, my marriage, my inheritance. But what you really tried to steal was my dignity, my sense of self." I pulled out the old napkin sketch of our dream home. This was drawn the night Adrian promised to build a life with me, a promise that meant nothing compared to his mother's control. Turning to the judge, I continued, "The prosecution has proven the financial crimes, the fraud, the theft, the money laundering, but the real crime was the psychological warfare they waged. They tried to convince me I was crazy, unstable, unworthy." "Lies!" Francesca interrupted. "You vindictive little—" "Mrs. Horton," the judge warned, "one more outburst and you'll be removed." I held up the forensic accounting reports. "The evidence shows they stole $3 million from me, but they also stole from Adrian's father, from his cousin Eliana's family, from countless others, each theft wrapped in a web of manipulation and gaslighting." Liam stood up from the gallery. "She's right, Your Honor. My wife and son destroyed our entire family for money. Money they used to fund illegal real estate schemes," Chelsea added, approaching with more documents. "We've uncovered 12 separate fraud operations spanning 2 decades. Adrian finally spoke, his voice broken. "Mom, what did you make me do?" Francesca whirled on him. "Ungrateful child! Everything I did was for you." "No," he replied quietly. "Everything you did was for control." The judge cleared his throat. "Given the evidence presented and the defendant's lack of remorse, I'm ready to pronounce sentence." The room held its breath. Francesca Horton, This court sentences you to 15 years in federal prison. Adrian Horton, given your cooperation and secondary role, 8 years. Francesca lunged forward. You can't do this to me. Do you know who I am? A thief, I said clearly, a manipulator, and now a convicted felon. As they were led away, Adrian caught my arm. Vera, the baby. We'll never know you, I finished. That's the real sentence, Adrian. Knowing your child will grow up learning exactly who you chose to be. Outside, reporters clamored for statements. Eliana appeared beside me, linking her arm through mine. Mom would be proud, she said. You did what she couldn't. We all did, I replied, gesturing to the other victims. Together, Chris approached with final papers. The house is officially yours again, and the restitution payments will begin next month. Sell it, I said. Split the money between the victims' fund and my baby's future. And what about you? Stella asked, joining us. Where will you live? I smiled, pulling out a new sketch. I'm building again, a smaller house, but with a bigger heart. No shadows, no lies, just love. Later that evening, I visited Adrian one last time in custody. He looked small behind the glass. I never meant, he began. Save it, I cut him off. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to show you something. I held up the ultrasound picture. A girl. She'll have your eyes, probably, but she'll have my strength, and she'll know that her mother fought back against people who tried to break her. Please, he whispered, don't keep her from me. You did that yourself, Adrian. Every time you chose your mother's schemes over our marriage, every time you helped steal from innocent people, every time you tried to make me doubt my sanity. I stood, gathering my things. The divorce is final. The restraining order is permanent. This is goodbye. Vera, his voice cracked. I did love you. No, I replied. You loved the idea of me. The quiet wife who wouldn't question your mother's control. But that woman never existed. And the real me? She's done being anyone's victim. Walking out into the sunset, I felt my daughter kick. It's okay, little one, I whispered. We're going home, our real home, the one we'll build together. The moving truck pulled away, leaving me alone in my new driveway. The house was smaller than the one Francesca stole, but every inch of it was mine, built with the restitution money, designed with love instead of lies. My phone buzzed, a news alert. Francesca Horton denied appeal. I smiled, deleting it without reading further. She wasn't worth my attention anymore. Need help unpacking? Stella called, walking up with a box of pictures. Though honestly, I'm more interested in helping you drink that wine I brought. Can't drink, I reminded her, patting my now prominent belly. But I'll watch you enjoy it. Inside, the afternoon sun streamed through windows I'd specifically designed to catch the light. No dark corners, no shadows. The walls were already filled with photos, not of the past, but of the future I was building. Mail came, Stella said, handing me an envelope. From Liam. I opened it carefully. Inside was a trust document and a letter. Dear Vera, I've spent my life watching Francesca destroy people. I helped her do it through action or inaction. This trust is for my granddaughter, not to make amends, but to ensure she never wants for anything. Use it to teach her what I failed to teach Adrian, that integrity matters more than money. Now, well, Stella asked. He set up a college fund. I placed the papers in my desk. And he's right, she'll learn about integrity, starting with this. I pulled out the old napkin sketch of the first house, now framed alongside the new house's plans. Different dreams, same determination. The doorbell rang. Eliana stood there with Chelsea and Chris, arms full of housewarming gifts. We come bearing presents and news, Chelsea announced. Warren's testimony led them to 3 more of Francesca's hidden accounts. The victims' fund just grew by $2 million. Good, I said. More families can rebuild. Speaking of rebuilding, Chris added, Adrian's requesting another meeting? No, my voice was firm. He made his choices. Actually, Eliana interjected, he's asking to sign away any future claims to custody, voluntarily. Says he doesn't want his daughter to ever feel manipulated like he was. I touched my stomach, feeling a kick. Maybe Adrian had learned something after all. A car pulled up outside, Gemma, our star witness, still proudly nosy after all these months. "You'll never guess what I heard," she called out, hurrying up the drive. "Francesca's cellmate is that CEO she tried to swindle last year. Karma's got a sense of humor." We all laughed, moving to the kitchen where Stella was already opening wine for those who could drink it. The conversation flowed easily, punctuated by plans and possibilities instead of schemes and secrets. "Oh," I suddenly exclaimed, grabbing Stella's hand and placing it on my belly. "Feel that? She's dancing." "Strong kicks," Stella grinned, "just like her mama." "Speaking of strong," Chelsea said, raising her glass, "a toast to Vera, who showed us all that the best revenge isn't just winning, it's thriving." "And to new beginnings," Eliana added, "built on truth this time." I looked around at these women who'd become my real family, the sister who never doubted me, the cousin-in-law who risked everything to help, the professionals who became friends, even nosy Gemma, whose midnight photos helped crack the case. The doorbell rang again. This time it was a delivery, a small package from my grandmother's old address. Inside was her journal, sent by a neighbor who'd found it during renovations. I opened it to the last entry. "My dearest Vera, I'm leaving you more than money. I'm leaving you my strength. Use it wisely, build something beautiful, and never let anyone make you feel small. All my love, Grandma Rose." Tears pricked my eyes as I felt another kick. "Your great-grandma was right," I whispered to my bump. "We are strong, and we're going to build something beautiful together." "What are you going to name her?" Gemma asked. I smiled, looking at the framed napkin sketch. "Rose, for the grandmother who gave me the means to build my first dream and the strength to build a better one." The setting sun painted the walls gold, warming the space we'd filled with laughter and truth. This house wasn't just a building, it was a statement, a declaration that sometimes losing everything means finding yourself. "To Rose," my friends chorused, raising their glasses, "and to Karma," I added softly, touching the journal. "May it always find its way home." Outside, the garden I'd planted was already showing green shoots, like me, like little Rose, like all of us, growing stronger in the light, refusing to be buried in anyone's shadows. This was more than a happy ending. It was a new beginning, and this time we were writing our own story.